Folks, for the last few hours, social media has been ablaze with a new video from the perspective of one of the ICE officers who shot and killed Renee Good. This video gives us a direct account of what took place. And if they think that this somehow helps their case, they're absolutely wrong. Watch this.
I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. It's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran, same veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Oh!
Good.
Folks, you see exactly what took place right there. So I want to play the video again so you can have a better understanding. And so you see Renee Good. You see she's smiling, no big deal. And then the officers, they decide to take their particular action. This is absolutely crazy. Roll the video again.
Dude, I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. It's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran, same veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Oh!
Good.
Yo, that is real. Hennepin County DA makes it clear that this officer, Jonathan Ross, is going to be charged for the death of Renee Good. This is beyond shameful, which actually took place now that this video is coming out. And a lot of folks are talking about what's going on here. Retired FBI agent, U.S. Air Force veteran, and crime fiction author Steve Lazarus, he put this video out talking about how this should have gone down. Watch this.
Here's my take on the Minneapolis ICE shooting, not from the standpoint of a politician or an activist, but through the lens of a 30-year career in law enforcement. I'm going to start by stating the obvious. I wasn't there. I haven't seen what happened before the video starts. That said, the more I watch it, the angrier I get. I spent 18 of my 22 years in the FBI as a firearms instructor. I didn't just teach agents how to shoot, I taught them when to shoot. One principle we hammered home was simple. Deadly force is never authorized merely to stop a fleeing suspect. Yes, if a vehicle is being used as a weapon, that changes the analysis, but nothing in this video supports that. If anything, it appeared the driver was just trying to avoid the agents altogether. Normally, I give law enforcement the benefit of the doubt when it comes to dealing with high-stress situations. But I can't do that here. At a minimum, this shooting reflects a failure of training and supervision. The deeper question, however, is whether law enforcement agencies are selecting and properly vetting people with the temperament and judgment required to make irreversible life and death decisions in seconds.
Yeah, that's actually the case right there. Robin Wansley is a member of the Minneapolis City Council. She's the Minneapolis City Council minority leader. Robin joins us right now. And this is obviously Robin roiled the city. We're now back. Minneapolis is now, the center of conversation when it comes to law enforcement shooting. And to have the federal government literally say we don't even want the state or the city involved in the investigation shows that frankly they want to cover this up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't think it's not short of a coincidence that where Renee Good was shot and killed by a federal ICE agent on Wednesday morning. It happened just a few blocks away from where George Floyd was also killed by a Minneapolis police officer by the name of Derek Chauvin back in the May of 2020. And we're seeing similar responses happen in that. We're seeing the Trump administration, which at that time it was our own city leadership in response to George Floyd's murder, trying to craft a smear campaign and mischaracterization of who the victims are. And we're seeing the Trump administration do that by framing Renee Good as an aggressor and thus warranted of the uh, basically warned of her death, warned of the officer shooting and killing her. And we heard the same. Many stories put out about George Floyd and how somehow Derek Chauvin kneeling on his neck was not the cause of him dying. Even though also in both cases, there's video footage that shows clearly what happened, that these people were murdered at the hands of a law enforcement officer. And what I'm also very proud of in this fact is, same in 2020, our residents didn't wait for federal action to come in, intervene, to get justice for George Floyd. They organized for it, and we're doing the same here. That was one of the first demands that we put out, was that the federal agent responsible for Renee Good's murder, his name is Jonathan Ross, should be arrested and prosecuted. And when the BCA and when our state leaders started to move in a way as if they were retreating from it, our residents continue to organize and put pressure on elected officials to say, no, you need to see this through. Because if we allow this to happen, this sets a new standard for our federal administration as they're invading and occupying other cities under this campaign of cruelty that they're using under the guise of immigration and keeping communities safe and going after the bad guys. They're going to use that as a way to give federal agents the right to kill with impunity. We fought against that even amongst regular cops. And Black Lives Matter, following George Floyd's murder, we said, regardless, if you have a badge, you do not have a license to kill. And the same applies here. And just as we got justice for George Floyd, we are going to organize and get justice for Renee Good and all of our residents who've been kidnapped and abducted at the hands of these violent federal ICE agents, and set a new standard that you don't get to do this. And you won't do this in Minneapolis.
Yeah, and what you have here is, what does Donald Trump do? He's now sent more federal law enforcement to Minneapolis.
Yes, he's now sent Border Patrol. I would say, actually, speaking of Black Lives Matter, one of our key leaders was actually sprayed with chemical irritants by a Border Patrol officer right after Renee Good was murdered on Wednesday. So it shows very clear that this whole story that they've been telling to the American people, that again, immigrants are your problem. This is why we need to go after them. This is why we need $1 billion to fund the ICE agency and the FBI to go after these people. It just shows it's actually a lie. They are going after everyone. And they tried this out in my home city of Chicago, when they went in and said, we're going to take out violent, immigrant and criminals and things of that nature. But somehow you're on the South Side detaining Black residents over there in their apartment buildings. How did we get there? And we're seeing the same thing here. They said they came in for immigrants, but you end up shooting a 37-year-old white woman on a Wednesday morning. Now you're shooting chemical irritants at Black residents. We just got word today that a U.S. citizen was also detained here in Minneapolis during one of their raids. So it's very clear that no one is safe when ICE is present. And that is the agenda of the Trump administration. They don't aim to make our country or our community safe. They want to make sure that they can use blunt force to silence any type of opposition to their racist and very profit-driven agenda nationally. And they want to use federal agents, their law enforcement arm, as a vehicle to normalize that violence and to enact that violence. And then they expect us to take it lying down. And once again, I'm glad that Minneapolis, we have our deep history here of advocacy and organizing. And we're showing, no, we will not. We will get justice. We will arrest your federal agent, and we will hold you accountable for infringing upon our own rights as a state to protect our residents using your federal ICE agent.
Well, it goes to show you exactly how they operate and how they move. And so we're going to see what happens next. Don't be surprised if Donald Trump does all he can to protect this officer. And again, he can protect him on federal charges, but he cannot do anything when it comes to state charges.
Exactly. And that's why I'm so proud of our leaders, specifically our Hennepin County attorney, as well as our attorney general, Keith Ellison, our Hennepin County attorney is Mary Moriarty, that they said, look, we're standing 10 toes down on delivering justice for Renee Good. And we're not going to just retreat because the federal government said so. They're launching their own independent investigation. That was another main rallying cry and demand that we heard off the ground. This officer needs to be prosecuted, and we need to have an independent investigation, because there is no way that we're going to have the federal agency that causes murder and is already working overtime to discredit the victim and also basically create the conditions for a dismissal. We're not going to let them just have that investigation to set that as a new legal mandate. No, we are going to do our own independent investigation. We're going to trust civilians in our own community to deliver the evidence that we need to put this man away behind bars. And we know we can do this because we've done it before. It was a young Black woman by the name of Darnella Frazier who filmed George Floyd's murder in 2020. And again, at that time, the city was working to basically cover up his murder. And had it not been for Darnella Frazier recording that, as well as dozens of residents recording and gathering evidence and footage of what actually transpired, if it wasn't for them, we would not have had that victory. And so I'm glad that our elected leadership also knows it's the residents here who were on the ground, who know what happened, that capture what happened, and they're going to play an essential piece or role in making sure that a thorough investigation happens that leads to Jonathan Ross, the federal agent responsible for Renee Good's murder, be put behind bars, just like we did with Derek Chauvin and the other officers involved with George Floyd back in 2020.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.